Welcome to the Visions of War podcast series.
Presented by me, Bob Carruthers. I'm honoured to have been making military history documentaries for the past 30 years, and in that time I'm proud to have won an Emmy Award. But more importantly, I've also discovered and shared some great primary source material concerning the history of warfare.
The Visions of War podcast is brought to you with a huge array of informative insights and discussions
Covering every aspect of military history.
You'll find Visions of War wherever you get your podcasts.
I'm sure you won't be disappointed.
Today, we're cracking open the archives for a really intense story. The battle for Bosch. You might know it as Operation Allen.
Right, a brutal 4-day fight in southern Holland, late October 1944, part of that bigger push, Operation Pheasant.
And what's special about this deep dive is our source material. We're not looking at the usual Allied accounts.
No, exactly. We've got the internal German battle reports, specifically from the defending unit, the 712th Infantry Division.
Penned by their commander, Lieutenant General Neumann, covering October 22nd right through to the 28th.
So this gives us a rare look from the losing side. It's their own assessment of, well, why things fell apart.
That's our mission today, isn't it? To sift through these German documents and pinpoint the real logistical problems, the command failures, basically understand the collapse from their point of view.
Yeah, how they saw the fight against the British 53rd Welsh Division and, of course, the 7th Armored, the famous Desert Rats. We want to find that operational truth hidden in their own reports.
Okay, so let's set the scene. Operation Pheasant is underway. The British are advancing.
That's right. The 53rd Welsh and the 7th Armored are pushing east. Pretty quickly, they take villages like Middle Road, Newland.
And pressure's coming from the south, too, right? Near Den Bosch.
Yes, from the 51st Highland Division. It was a converging attack. Neumann himself later said they were up against two complete and well-equipped British divisions.
But the problems for the Germans, they started even before the first shots were fired, didn't they? Looking at their intelligence leading up to it, it seems a bit confused.
Oh, definitely. Between October 17th and 21st, there was this hopeful thinking higher up in German command. They sort of assumed the 7th Armored might have been moved elsewhere.
Wishful thinking, as you say. Because the division on the ground, the 7th and 12th, they were seeing things differently.
They were. They reported enemy recon activity, suggesting the opposite, but confirming the full presence of the Desert Rats, the main armored threat that didn't happen until, the night of the 19th, 20th?
Wow, that late.
Yeah, from two captured prisoners. So they basically went into battle only just confirming the scale of the armor they were facing.
And the state of their own division, the 712th, reading Neumann's assessment, it sounds, frankly, pretty dire.
It was. Systemic problems. First off, the division itself was designated Bodenstandage.
Meaning static, right? Not built for mobile defense.
Exactly. Lacked transport, lacked mobility. But maybe worse was the personnel situation. Many replacements were, get this, Luftwaffe ground crew with only 3 or 4 weeks of basic army training.
3 or 4 weeks against seasoned British troops.
Yep, and it went right up the command chain. The report notes they'd lost something like 20 infantry and battalion commanders just since May 44.
That's a huge loss of experience. New commanders trying to hold a city under immense pressure.
Precisely. Institutional memory gone, unit cohesion weakened, and they were short on kit too.
Like artillery.
Big time. They only had about 65% of one ammunition supply loadout for their main guns. That's not much at all.
And communication gear.
Also lacking. And Neumann himself admitted in the report, he said some units were armor hard, veterans maybe, but many others were poorly organized and explicitly not armor hard.
That phrase, not armor hard, it really jumps out, doesn't it? It suggests they knew many of their troops would likely break when faced with tanks.
It implies a real fear, a lack of confidence.
Yeah.
They had the weapons, things like the Panzerfaust.
Those shoulder-fired anti-tank rockets.
Right, effective at close range. But leadership clearly doubted if these raw recruits had the nerve to stand their ground and actually use them effectively against oncoming armor.
So the attack kicks off October 22nd. Heavy Allied artillery barrage first.
A real pulverizing barrage.
Yeah.
Despite all those problems we mentioned, the German infantry did initially put up a stiff fight.
The report actually highlights some successes, doesn't it?
It does. It praises the bravery of soldiers using those Panzerfausts. They apparently knocked out at least 6 enemy tanks on that first day alone.
But that initial chaos also led to some pretty strange claims in Neumann's report.
Extremely contentious claims, yeah. reflecting the desperation, perhaps.
This is where we have to be careful, just reporting what they claimed. There's an allegation about Newfoundland.
Yes, the report claims Allied forces advanced using German POWs as human shields, and that this forced 2 German anti-tank guns to stop firing because, well, they wouldn't shoot their own men.
And there was another similar claim later.
Yeah, something described as a shameful deception of British soldiers in German uniforms, implying disguise or maybe a false surrender tactic.
Now, whether these things actually happened exactly like that is one question. But why include these highly charged subjective claims in an operational report?
Good question. It could be partly trying to explain away failures. Easier to blame enemy deception than admit your anti-tank crews were overwhelmed or panicked.
Or maybe just reflecting the sheer confusion and breakdown of, well, everything on the battlefield.
Probably a mix of both. It certainly points to how difficult it was for them to maintain any kind of coherent defense.
And speaking of coherence, or lack thereof, the communications breakdown seems absolutely central, according to their own report.
Oh, decisively so. The report is brutal about it. That initial Allied bombardment, it almost entirely destroyed their field telephone network.
Almost entirely destroyed, so what did they do?
Well, it led to this absurd situation. It apparently took them 25 hours to rig up just one working phone line between the division HQ and the artillery regiment.
25 hours to talk to their own artillery.
25 hours. And then, just 3 hours after they finally got it working, an Allied shell cut the line again.
Unbelievable. So for over a day, essentially no reliable link between forward observers and the guns needed to support them.
Pretty much. They were down to patchy radio connections, runners, information arriving hours late. It made coordinated defense almost impossible.
And this directly led to more chaos.
Absolutely. It culminated on the night of October 23rd, 24th. The Allies pinpointed the German HQ at Hintham.
Neumann's command post.
Exactly. And they just unleashed hell on it. The report estimates something like 50,000 shells landed on that command post area.
50,000.
50,000. Yeah. Neumann himself was forced to evacuate, pull back from Hintham. The command center was overrun.
And just before that siege, there was another disaster linked to this communication failure, wasn't there? The counterattack at Rosmalen.
Oh, the friendly fire incident. Yes. Late afternoon on the 23rd, German assault guns, Sturmgeschütz, were moving up for a counterattack.
Their own armored support.
Right. And suddenly they come under intense shelling. But it wasn't British artillery.
Use their own guns.
It was their own artillery. The report mentions over 1,000 friendly shells landing on their attacking armor. They lost men, and at least 2 assault guns were destroyed by their own side.
You can't run a battle like that. It's complete system failure.
It really is. And while this tactical nightmare is unfolding, the command structure within the city itself is crumbling.
Didn't they replace the city commander?
They did.
Yeah.
Oberst-Diewald was deemed inadequate, relieved. A Major Riedel, who's actually a Luftwaffe reserve officer, took over.
A Luftwaffe officer commanding the army defense of a city.
Seems so. But then the final report turns around and blames him for the collapse, accusing him of giving withdrawal orders without authorization. It's just chaos top to bottom.
So by October 25th, the Allies are pushing hard into the city proper.
Relentlessly. They cross the Zuid-Willemsvaart Canal. And this is where Neumann's report specifically mentions a new threat.
Ah, the flame-throwing tanks.
Yes. The British started using them systematically to clear out German strongpoints. Neumann notes the infantry had very little defense against them. It was a real shock weapon.
And the defense line gets pushed back right into the city center.
Right through the Martyr, the main square. The battle commander, Riedel, ordered the main bridges blown.
But that went wrong too.
Another failure. The report says the demolition order was not adequate for 3 of the 4 bridges. And for one of the bridges, the detonator had already been wrecked by shell fire anyway.
So the bridges weren't properly destroyed.
Which gave the Allies a huge advantage on the 26th. They brought up a bridge-laying tank, slapped it across the damaged south bridge, and armor just poured across.
The city was basically lost at that point.
Pretty much. There's this striking detail in the report. A German adjutant is desperately trying to find one of his battalions, gets lost, and ends up near the Vogt concentration camp. And right there, next to a German maintenance platoon, he sees 10 British tanks parked.
Just there, inside their line.
Inside their collapsed lines, yeah. The battle was effectively over.
But Neumann tried one last thing, a final counterattack.
On the 27th, yes. A desperate attempt from near the train station to try and push back regained some kind of main line.
How did that go?
Failed almost immediately. Heavy Allied defensive fire, strong anti-tank response. They lost another Jagdpanther tank destroyer and 2 more Sturmgeschütze. That was it. The remaining Germans pulled back west towards Fleimen.
The cost. It was heavy on all sides, wasn't it?
Devastating. For the civilians, 253 killed, over 2,000 wounded, many severely. Huge damage to the city, hundreds of buildings gone or damaged.
And the British. The 53rd Welsh paid a price too.
They did. 11 officers, 134 soldiers killed, over 700 wounded. It was a hard fight.
So, Neumann's final summary in the report.
Yeah.
How did you wrap it all up?
Well, he acknowledged defeat by 2 complete and well-equipped British divisions. He listed the key factors we've discussed.
The communication breakdown, weak artillery, lack of ammo.
Exactly. And he specifically called out the shock effect of those British flame-throwing tanks. Said his infantry just couldn't stop them.
But then there's that final note, almost defiant.
Yeah, that's quite something.
Yeah.
Despite laying out all these catastrophic failures, he makes a point of highlighting German successes against armor. He claims the 712th destroyed at least 29 enemy tanks during the battle.
29, and specifically mentions the Panzerfaust kills.
Yep, claims 14 of those 29 were knocked out using the handheld Panzerfausts.
It's like a consolation prize, or trying to salvage some pride from the wreckage.
Probably both. But when you set that number, 29 tanks, against the loss of the city, the friendly fire, the total command collapse, it really underscores the point, doesn't it? Brave actions by individual soldiers, maybe, but tactically meaningless in the face of complete strategic and logistical failure.
This Bosch report really feels like a perfect storm, a case study in how deficits in comms, supplies, command, how they just magnify the power of a stronger opponent.
Absolutely. It shows how systemic weaknesses can completely negate individual bravery or isolated successes.
And thinking about that broader picture, late 1944, Neumann ends his report arguing they needed a build-up period, time to train replacements, refit, reorganize.
Which leads to that final provocative thought for you, the listener. Given the relentless Allied pressure on the Western Front by then, this constant advance, what is that reliance on needing time they clearly didn't have? Tell us about the German High Command's strategic reality versus their hopes. Were they planning for pauses? The war simply wasn't going to give them anymore.
Something to definitely think about. A desperate fight captured through the lens of the side that lost. We'll leave you with that thought.
If you found this episode helpful, informative, or entertaining, be sure to hit follow or subscribe in your podcast app. You'll get our new episodes for free, and it tells the platform we're doing a good job. It takes 30 seconds, but leaving a review is a massive help. It's the main way new listeners find out if this show is right for them. We read every single one. Thanks from all the Visions of War podcast team.